You want to start macro photography in 2026. Don't buy a macro lens. Macro photography can feel lonely, but it doesn't have to be. Join my macro photography community where photographers come together to share, learn, ask questions and inspire each other every step of the way. Scan the QR code or check the link in the description. As I said in the intro, the worst mistake you can make when you want to start macro photography is to go out and buy a macro lens. It's an expensive lens for you to try and find out if you even like macro photography. So if you follow along in this video, no matter where you are in your stage of photography, I'll show you what you need to do next in your macro photography journey. Step 1 is to start with what you already have. So first things first, as I've already said, you don't need expensive macro lenses to start macro photography. In fact, you might lose money because if you find out you don't like to do macro, you're going to end up having to sell this thing. If you've got a phone with the macro capability, you can already start right now before you invest in any gear. Most modern smartphones have a macro mode. Is it amazing? Not really. But it does teach you the basics, getting close, controlling light and finding subjects. And that's where it all begins. By using your mobile phone, you can find out quite quickly whether or not you're going to like macro photography. If you don't like it, you've saved yourself a bunch of money and hassle by not even starting. But if you do like it, then great. And if you don't have a camera yet, you can start by using clip-on lenses. They range from budget-friendly to expensive lenses. But if you get past the mobile phone and you do start getting the bug, here's the upgrade path I would take in 2026. If you already have a DSLR or mirrorless camera like this Sony a7 IV, you're in a great position to start macro photography. And you can get started on a budget. So let's say you've already got a longer focal length lens like a 200, 300 or even a 500mm lens already in your kit bag. And suddenly you're in a great position to give macro a real good go. What you can do is you can buy a clip-on lens. This particular one is the 49mm from Nissan, and they come in a variety of sizes to suit your lens. So if you've got a large lens like an 82mm filter thread, you go for the larger screw-on lens. What this can do is it can turn your long focal length lens like a 300mm into a 1:1 macro lens. These things are very budget friendly, around £80 for one of these, much cheaper than a dedicated macro lens. You can also use teleconverters with long lenses. These can cost some money, but they are great to get you started. But with this, you're going to be able to find out again, are you going to get into macro? Seriously? Or are you just going to do it as a bit of a sideline whenever you see a bee flying around? And your choice of a gear will all depend on how far you want to take it. And what if you don't have a long focal length lens? Pretty much everybody has one of these. This is a 50mm f1.8, the nifty 50, the plastic fantastic. These are very inexpensive. This one cost me about £160 brand new from Rex. And what we can do with this is we can buy some extension tubes. So extension tubes essentially go between your camera and your lens, and it enables you to be able to focus closer with your standard lens. These are a 16mm and a 10mm for a Sony E mount. You can get them in any mount, R mount, the Nikon mount, any mount you can get them in. And what this has done now is this has turned my standard 50mm f1.8 lens into a close-up lens. It's not a 1:1, it's a 0.5 magnification lens, but it's a great start. And here are some images that are taken with this exact setup. And this is using natural sunlight out in a meadow. Now for Sony in particular, maybe other brands as well, there is a more higher priced 50mm lens, and I'm not talking about the 1.4. I would not do macro with that lens, but there is a 50mm macro that will focus closer. So if you put extension tubes onto that particular lens, you are going to get closer. But do you remember the screw-on lens I talked about earlier that you can put on your long focal length lens? Watch this. It screws directly onto my little 50mm. Now if yours doesn't fit on, you can get step up or step down rings that can go on there, and that will do the job brilliantly. But this setup here, which is the Sony a7 IV with the 50mm f1.8 on extension tubes and a Nissi screw-on filter, this gives me an equivalent of a 1:1 macro lens, all for the price of less than £100. If you got the camera and the lens, of course. If you haven't, it's going to cost you a little bit more. What this will enable you to do is to get shots like this. Now, are they brilliant? Are they groundbreaking? No, they're not. But what they can do is they can tell you whether or not you're going to like macro photography and whether or not you need to invest in more gear. At this point, you're probably thinking, right, time to buy a macro lens. Not yet, because you're about to hit the real problem, light. As you magnify your subject and stop down your aperture, you lose a lot of light. And shooting in harsh midday sunlight is not good light for macro. This is where most people struggle. Now, of course, you can go out early in the morning for the sunrise, and you of course also do late in the evenings when you've got the sunset. That will give you some really nice natural light. And some of the images you can get are fantastic. Now, I don't shoot that type of macro yet. I am going to give it a go this year, so subscribe to the channel if you want to watch that little journey. But what you want to do is this. You see, sometimes I can't get out early in the morning. Sometimes I can't be out in the evenings because the wife works, she has the car, so I go out in the daytime. What you want to do is you want to override the sunlight, and what you want to do is introduce a flash. So you're going to think you're going to pop on a flash, and what you do is we override the sunlight and we use our own light to light our subjects. But look at this image, it's awful. It's awful. And it's because it's a bare flash. You've got two issues going on here. The bare flash is harsh light, it's no good for you. And the flashlight from that is not going to hit your focus point here. It's going to come down like about here. So what we want to do there is we want to add a diffuser to the setup. This, by far, is the most important purchase of a macro photographer's life. Now, you can go on to Amazon and buy budget-friendly diffusers for £10–15. Go straight for that first, because again, you're not knowing if you're going to carry on or not. You don't know if you want to be a natural light photographer or whether you want to be a flash photographer. This one is an old one I have, and all this does is it goes onto the front of my lens like that. And here's an example of my jumper spider taken with this exact setup. And just to nail home that gear isn't everything when it comes to macro photography, it's in fact lighting and fieldcraft, check this image here of my jumper spider. This was taken on a Canon 650D with the nifty 50mm lens on extension tubes using the pop-up flash and this diffuser. But of course, if you go and buy a budget-friendly diffuser off Amazon, at some point it is going to break. What do you do then? If you are disappointed, you're like, oh my god, my diffuser's broke, then it's time to upgrade your diffuser to a high quality diffuser. Just like this one from Cygnus Tech. I've got several Cygnus Tech diffusers because they are custom made to your flash and lens setup. So if you do change your lens or your flash, you will have to change the diffuser. But I've not managed to break one yet, and that is very good for me. I am notorious for breaking things. But that setup there with the diffuser will do you fantastic macro images without you having to fork out for a macro lens. Here's a shot again of my jumping spider using this exact setup. So you're now going to be running around meadows and bushes with a setup similar to this, which is, quite frankly, a pretty good setup. And it still costs less than your massive dedicated macro lens. But now you've got a decision to make. Do you want one camera that is good at everything? Or do you want one camera that is fantastic at macro photography? I'm going to talk about both of them, and whichever path you go down is completely up to you. So let's say you are an all-round photographer. You might photograph portraits, landscapes, wildlife, and you've got one camera and you just want to do some macro along with it. Now is the time when you want to look at getting a dedicated macro lens. A great budget-friendly option is from Laowa, like their 19mm macro. It's fantastic build quality. It's a 2x macro lens, but it is a full manual lens. No autofocus, no weather sealing, and no support for in-camera focus stacking or bracketing if your camera supports those features. However, a native macro lens like this Sony 100mm is a great way to go. If you go with your camera brand's own macro lens, you will pay more, but you will get autofocus, weather sealing, better build quality, and full compatibility with your camera, which includes focus stacking and bracketing should your camera support those features. And that is a big deal. So add that lens to your kit bag and you're going to be photographing wedding rings, you're going to be photographing bugs, water droplets and all kinds of tiny macro worlds. That's where I would go if, again, you're shooting other genres of photography. Now, what if you're not shooting other types of photography? What if you're a portrait photographer, but you want a completely different setup for macro photography? This is where your bank will start screaming at you. If you want the best that money can buy, if you want to take macro really seriously, like get shots like this and like this, that is when it's time to look at your photography setup and create a dedicated macro setup. My recommendation at the moment for the top end macro is the OM1 Mark II with the 90mm macro lens. This, at time of recording this video, is unbeatable for macro photography. It's a 4x macro magnification equivalent on a full frame camera. It is fast, it's got built-in focus stacking and focus bracketing, and they are absolutely fantastic. And again, you want to add a flash to it, so you're going to add a Godox V860 to it. And again, I can't stress it any more than you need a good diffuser. Okay, you have to get a good diffuser because you've got to diffuse the light from your flash. And again, if you're a natural light photographer, doesn't matter. Okay, but if you buy a flash and diffuser, you've got both options. You can do flash and you can do natural light. That there is the best setup for macro photography currently in 2026. If you've got money, go straight for the OM1 Mark II with the 90mm flash, diffuser, and you're good. Don't forget fast memory cards. I'm using Lexar professional memory cards. They are V60. I do have a V90 for video as well. The faster the write speed, the better, and the quicker you're going to clear your buffer. That is a stacking god. You know it, you've seen it on our channel, and it creates images like this. Absolutely fantastic images. So whatever path you go down to, it doesn't matter. It's the end result that counts in your photography. And the only thing that matters is if you're happy with your photography. If you're serious about improving your macro photography, don't just focus on the gear. Focus on light, technique, and consistency. Of course, if you want help to improve your macro photography, you can always join my macro photography community. Friendly community with macro photographers of all skill levels. So let me know in the comments below, are you a dedicated macro photographer shooter, or are you a bit of a hybrid shooter where you shoot other genres as well? Are you starting? Are you halfway through your journey, or are you at the end of your journey with the OM1 Mark II? Let me know in the comments below. But I hope that has helped. If you have any questions, hit me up in the community. I will always answer them for you. But that's where I'm going to leave this video. I want to thank you for getting to the end of this video, and I'll see you on the next one.